What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Outside the Clutch. We had 2 weeks off. I took a little hiatus. We've ended a show, and so that kind of threw me off a little bit. And then the guy we were supposed to have on last week, thankfully I didn't promo it. Well, it was his birthday, and how you forget your own birthday, I don't know, but the dude forgot his birthday, so we ended up rescheduling. But thank you guys for jumping in and hanging out with us, and make sure you say hi as we get started. We are getting ramped back up. We got about the next 2 months scheduled already, so ain't nothing to worry about. Speaking of the one that canceled on his birthday, what's up, Christian? Um, what's I'm gonna butcher that. Inquiline. Yeah. So Christian forgot his birthday. He forgets his birthday every year, apparently. But anyways, we'll have him on in a little bit. Um, Tonight is going to be a special one for me. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a round two with Brandon, and it got me thinking: who did we speak to previously before they had any experience breeding or bringing animals to life, right? And Matt's my dude, man. Like me and Matt are always joking around, and I felt it was just right after he's finally got some eggs, got some babies. Hopefully, got some sales. We're about to find out. Um, I figured it was just time to bring him back on. It's been about 2 years since we've talked to him, at least on this, and I just want to show my boy support. He's freaking hustling out there. You guys see him all the time. He's traveling. He's at almost all the shows. And now he has a very lovely lady by his side that we're going to dive into her mind a little bit and see exactly what she thinks of his hobby and what she thinks of him. So maybe it'll be like a couples therapy session. I don't know. We'll see what happens. um, hey, what's up, Duran? What's up, Papa? I hope y'all are ready for this. I want to talk about our sponsors really quick, do our spots. You guys know we are very adamant about husbandry here and keeping up our husbandry, and with such, that's why we chose the sponsors that we chose to reach out and ask them to sponsor us. Here at Outside the Clutch, we're honored to be sponsored by VivTech. Are you ready for innovation? Tired of the same boring product that's been used for 30 years? Ready to give your reptiles and amphibians the UV they really deserve? Then look no farther than VivTech. Their 3-watt LED bulbs provide the UV rays your animals have been missing. With 3 bulbs to fit your pet's climate needs, plus a dimmable feature, it's the only bulbs we use for UV. And it's the only bulb with a 2-year warranty in the industry. Plus now you can monitor all your pet's husbandry from your phone 24/7 with their sensors, and even ship your customers' animals in their custom bags. So what are you waiting for? Go to vivtechproducts.com today, use code FCLUTCH0322 for 15% off, and provide your animals the best care they've ever had. Are you ready for the best coconut substrate in the game? Then you gotta get ReptiChip. First off, it's America's chip because it's veteran owned. Secondly, why wouldn't you want the best cocoa chip for your animals? Go to reptichip.com, use code FeelyChippin for 10% off 2 breeder blocks, or reach out to me as a local representative in the El Paso area. And don't forget to join the Reptilution, where all profits go to helping those in need within the reptile community. All right, so for all your husbandry needs, whether it's monitoring, whether it's UV bulbs, whether it's the actual snake bags themselves, obviously we have a spot for you. Make sure you check out our sponsors. They are posted down in the description below, along with Show Me Snakes. I really love what Mickey's doing with that show. I love how hard this man hustles. He freaking is always working. Even with everything going on in his life, this dude puts out like 2-3 shows a weekend. He's hustling hard. I appreciate it. I'm trying to have that same motivation myself. So I hope you all follow him. If you see a freaking Show Me Snake show that somewhere near Texas, hit me up. I'm looking to broaden out and go to more shows and hopefully see a lot more of your faces in person versus just online all the time, because I enjoy the face-to-face way more than I enjoy this. But without further ado, I'm gonna bring my guy in and his lovely lady, and we're gonna have some fun now. So put your hands together, give a bunch of love to Mr. Matt and Miss Megan from Matt Sommers Reptiles.
I love you.
How y'all doing tonight?
Chilling. My neck's a little bit sore, but other than that, we're good.
Man, I can't believe you agreed to freaking do this right after. Freaking get your neck blasted and then let's go and do a podcast, man.
It wasn't that bad. Honestly, I messaged you right away because I forgot. I was like, wait, did he say 6 p.m. Pacific time or 6 p.m. Texas time? And I was like on the chair, like panicking, like, oh my God, I'm going to no-show the show. I'm going to no-show the show. This is going to look like a whole asshole move.
You're not going to no-show the show. I would have talked shit for like the first half hour before you came in.
He's been tagging me in it for a while. I couldn't ditch.
Well, because she called me when I was on the chair, and I was like, is she calling me because you messaged her and we're like, where is he? Someone said can't hear.
Is anyone else having issues hearing? Let me see what's going on here. All my stuff's showing. I don't know. Can you all hear?
Maybe it's one person. It's the same person posting about it.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
Everyone else says it's good. Dak, I don't know if that's Dax or his wife.
Right. Okay. It might be good then. Yeah, because you weren't cutting out on mine either.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a connection for them. All right, we're gonna run it. Those that can hear, awesome. Those that can't hear, Dax and his wife. Oh, I forget her name. I'm gonna be in so much trouble when I see him next weekend.
Just before Tinley too.
Well, it's right before I see him at Arlington.
Arlington, yeah.
Yeah, I'm about.
Which I'm sad I won't be at, but
I'm gonna get yelled at for that one. Oh my lord! But yeah. So let's kind of jump into it. So last we talked to you, this was all just a thought in your mind, right? Like
yeah,
you're just starting to bring stuff in
very early into it. Like I was just buying hatchlings and stuff.
Yeah. So, and you already had a carpet. You had the dwarfs.
I've got some green trees. I got an emerald. I have the
I don't think you had those at the like
our last interview.
You hadn't had those. Like you specifically had the dwarfs. I know you had
and the carpet,
and then some ball pythons.
Yeah.
So in the last 2 years, how much would you say you've expanded, and how much of a focus have you had to kind of fight yourself with between ball pythons and going after your passion projects?
I think the last time I was on here, God, I think maybe I had 15 to 20 snakes, and now I'm at like 65 in 2 years.
Is that counting the babies, or is that just counting like?
That's not counting the babies. It's not counting the babies. Okay. So if you had the babies, I'm about like 78.
Nice.
But I mean,
way to move.
I'm really focusing on the ball pythons right now for the most part, because my mindset's like the ball pythons, you know, because you look at chondros, if you buy a captive born and bred chondro, it's going to be $3 or $4 you know?
Right.
So my mindset is the ball pythons can fuel the other passion stuff, you know?
Exactly, man. And I think that's the way a lot of people need to look at it. I think that's the way they need to work it, in all honesty. Like there's money in a lot of other species, don't get me wrong. Yeah. And you shouldn't just look at it for money, but like a lot of the stuff that I keep,
people get weirded out when all the money talk comes up. But I mean, you know me, I've been happy to talk about it. I made a video on all I spent my first year, you know. Luckily, I didn't get roasted for that too bad, actually. I thought I was going to get a lot of hate for that.
That's because you hadn't hit 1K now. Now you're YouTube famous. So.
Oh no, I did get the one dude on there that was talking shit. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. So, Meg, what do you think about his hobby or future business?
So this is really weird, and I was thinking about it today, but before he and I had met, I started getting all of these videos about like clutches and opening them and seeing all the different babies that come out of there. So I was watching them constantly. And then we met, and when he said that, I was like, I know things. It's like I don't know anything. And if you saw the YouTube video,
Destiny.
you could see that I don't know anything.
Destiny.
She gave me crap in the middle of our first cutting, or it was before the first cutting when I was talking about cutting the eggs, and she's like, "Oh, I want to cut one. Can I cut one?" I looked at her and I was just like, "You've never cut an egg before. Why would I let you cut one?" And she goes, "Well, neither have you." And I was like, "That's fair."
I mean, feedback on the video says I did it better. So
she did. She
I
went.
don't
She
I
went.
did. I was one of those. I'm just saying.
Like it was like watching Billy cut. She just she pushed it and just went
Matt
right
was
across.
like,
And I was like, yeah, I was all
and
nervous.
it makes you just
You
hear
know
like, okay, keep it slow, keep it smooth.
Yeah.
I don't have
It
money
was awesome.
invested. I have all the fun part. I don't have to do the caring. I get to like come over and play with all of the snakes, and then I name all of them. So I don't know. I go in without fear.
Yeah, but
that's his money. These are his babies. So I think that's where
You shouldn't sell yourself short either, because when I'm out of town, who's the one that takes care of them? It's her.
it's fair.
You know, I'll be like, "Hey, I need you to check the snakes." Okay, she's opening all the tubs, checking them all. I'm just like, "Do what you need to do."
So
She hasn't
serious
had-
question. What do you think about it? Like, is it something that intrigues you now, or is it just,
I
oh, it's
love it.
animals and I enjoy animals?
Well, this
We got her. She's like,
This is why. So when it comes to the business aspect, he'll tell you I'm invested already. So I'm like,
Okay.
well, why don't you do this? Why haven't you done this? Or have you thought about? So I already kind of involved myself, maybe where I should or shouldn't, I don't know. But I'm all for it. I think that going for, first of all, this is really unique. It's all new to me. So my only input is what I see as a potential consumer. But I think it's fascinating. I love that he has this like passion project, and it's something that he has gone like above and beyond with preparing himself for, and just creating all of these things for his business. Like he has all of like his boxes, his bags, his stickers, and he's branded himself really well. And so I think it's great.
Thanks.
This isn't just someone, I think it'd be different if it was just tons of money going out and there wasn't a long-term plan, and there wasn't all the investment and just the love of snakes and this, not beyond hobby, this project that he's taken on, but he loves it, and he lets me put my 2 cents into it and name all the snakes. So I think it's great.
She's been super supportive too the whole time. I mean, even because I'm pretty critical of myself. I mean, when you grow up playing sports, you're very like, no, that wasn't good enough. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. But I was always like, I'm not a breeder yet because they haven't hatched yet. I'm not a breeder until they hatch. And she was very much like, no, you had eggs. Like, you're a breeder. Don't sell yourself short.
It's a whole project. I could buy eggs and hatch them, and it wouldn't make me a breeder.
Duran, I love Duran.
You let her name him?
Oh, my Lord. So
Name anything.
I don't name them. That's all her. I don't.
if you guys had to choose out of the collection that you have right now, with her investing, she has to obviously have a favorite. And
She
as a
does.
keeper, you always have a favorite. Whether you'll say it or not, you always have a favorite. Just like anyone that's been paying attention to my socials lately, you could tell I neglected my retic way more than I'd like to say. I finally got her set up the way I want, and I've been like blasting her a lot lately because I love her. She's my baby. I've had her since she had 1 meal in her,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I've taken her from like a little bitey shithead to one of the most puppy dog tame animals
we got a
that I
few
have.
of those here.
But so if you had to choose, what's your favorite in the collection? Don't worry, I won't tell the dogs, and I won't tell the other snakes.
Mine or hers?
No, yours.
You go first.
Wait.
I think I know which ball pythons. I think I know which one's going to be her favorite.
But
It's
like the babies, or
no,
not
the
including the
collection.
babies?
The collection.
Oh.
Just the one I'm thinking of. It's actually one of my more powerful males.
Oh man. No, you have to answer first. I have to think about this.
Okay, I'm not going to say it because she named him. So I'm not going to say the name because she doesn't know all the genetics.
Okay.
So it's my a guy from Antoine at DPR Cold Blood. So he's a Canadian boy. It's a Cypress Mojave black pastel hypo boy.
What's his name?
Casper.
Oh, Casper.
That's the one that you named.
Okay.
So that was
Okay.
that was the one. Well, we were dating a
5
month,
minutes?
not even a month, like 2 or 3 weeks, and I went back east to Virginia to go see Dennis. And Antoine was like, "Hey, I can ship the snake, this week. Can you Can you pick it up?" And I'm like, "Well, it's Canada, so I need to get someone to pick up this snake because Canada doesn't ship to the U.S. the way we ship within the U.S." So I text her. I'm like, "Hey, do you mind going to FedEx on Wednesday and picking up a snake?" And she did it like a champ, dude. She like took it out of the box, put it in the tub, handled it, everything.
Took
like
out
a pro.
the gross rat that was exploding.
Oh yeah, that's another story.
My favorite. It's hard they switch because I really loved Ragnar that he had. He's gonna have to tell you who these snakes are and what they're about.
That's the dwarf retic.
It's yellow and he's beautiful, but now he's become too spicy.
He's getting a little feisty
and
right
I
now. Yeah.
can't. And then
How old
Casper.
is he?
Like a year and a half.
That's why.
Ah.
He's getting near
Hormones.
breeding maturity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Casper, of course, but Mahogany, that's my favorite one right now.
Hoganog.
So it's like the most basic male I have in the. He's a
He's
Suma.
so sweet.
He's a Suma, and that's it. But he's a cool snake. He's chill.
Nice.
He's a snake. I would call him kind of like a snake that you could bring around a kid and just hand it to a kid, and they could hold it, like an educational snake. If I ever did that.
Okay. What do you think's been your biggest lesson working together in this now, but also since you've been doing this for a little while now, Matt, what do you think your biggest lesson overall since keeping has been?
Don't rush anything, honestly. I know people are really eager to like buy proven breeders or like try to get their hatchlings, not force feed them. Trying to think of the word right now.
Assist feed on like the first.
No, when you power feed them. But just take your time, this is something I started 2 years ago and it goes by fast. 2 years does not take a long time to go by. It still feels like yesterday that I was buying like hatchlings from Justin and thinking like, oh my God, I got my first like dreamsicle. This is crazy. And now that girl is about ready to hit 1,400 grams. So, I mean, I feed, my feeding for me is when they're on pups, it's every 5 days. And then the minute they get to weans, it's once a week. And that's it. And I feed on the small scale too. I don't give them big weans or big larges or big smalls. I give them all smaller and stuff. But yeah, that's probably my biggest takeaway is don't rush it. Like it'll happen when it happens. You can't, plus it's, you can't rush nature. like you can get that female up the size as fast as you want. And if you put a male in there with her, they don't breed, they're not going to breed.
Right.
That's the way it is.
Exactly. They got to be compatible just like us.
Yeah, I have a couple like that. They're just like I've put 2 males in there to the one girl, and she's the right size, but no one's locking her, and I'm like, she's not ready. Like,
It's just me.
no, she is mean though. Like
Just me.
That is.
I have a bully female in my rack that pushes all the males away. I'm just like, well,
yeah, she's
I'm
one.
gonna give it one more year.
I open her tub with the hook because if I open it with my hand, she comes flying out and tags me.
Just me.
She's psycho.
See that? Look, this person's wife also agrees that the most basic one is the best.
Exactly.
Smart.
What about you, Mick? What would you say is like not even necessarily the best lesson, but like what's the most fascinating thing that you think you've learned since starting this journey with Matt?
This has been an entire learning project for me because I feel like I've stepped into a world that I didn't know existed really, never sought it out, never heard of it. So everything is a learning experience for me. And as we've continued to meet people, because I've gone to a couple events with him, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is there's so much partnership in this community, and
It's very supportive.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And I think that's a lot of why he's thriving. Like there's so many people, and I've kept connections with some of these people too, which is really cool. But just the general support in going through this, and on all the people that have been really quick to kind of help me through when I don't know what I'm talking about. When I name a snake Banana Benji because of the color, and it is what it is. But that's been really cool. I think it's just seeing the support and how many people are invested in this has been the biggest learning experience for me, and just learning the whole process. It's interesting. It's so cool. I really like it.
I like it. What do you think is your favorite project right now? Are you leaning towards like more light or darker things? I know Matt likes to go darker, and he has a couple of that he's very specific on, but I say this because we're going to talk about your psychologist thought process here in a little bit. And I have a very, well, it's kind of like an industry-wide belief that females like a certain looking snake and males like a certain looking snake. So I'm wondering, do you fall on the light spectrum, the dark spectrum? What tickles your fancy, I guess?
What are those ones that I really like?
She actually likes the dark ones. Yeah.
Really?
You gravitate more towards the dark snakes.
Yeah. I don't know the name. I was hoping he was going to say this kind. We didn't get that.
I mean, a lot of them have multiple genetics in them, so it's not like.
Right.
But I feel like you like black pastel, mahogany. I think you like chocolate too. I think if I check out the chocolate girl, you probably like chocolate.
Espresso?
That's black pastel. That's black pastel. That's another name she gave him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gravitate more towards the darker stuff too. It's probably why we get along.
I don't know. There's so many of them. I don't know if I really have a preference, but that's true. A lot of my favorite ones that I gravitate towards are the darker ones. Those are the ones I want to play with more, and then I'm like checking in on and quick to name. Yeah. So there you go. We'll say that dark. Did I blow your mind?
You didn't blow my mind. You definitely went against the grain. Like there's most females like the bright, colorful ones. So it's nice to see a change.
My boy Nathan. Hello, Nathan.
It's a welcome mutation to the norm.
Nice. I'll take it.
Yeah, because even the dwarf retix, she likes the darker ones too. She likes the Annery Motley and the Golden Child.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where did the idea for naming, like how do you select? Is it based off of the series that you're watching or certain books that you like, or
I am an avid reader, but no, that is not what it's from, because I only read novels based off of like crime and like investigative murder mystery type of stuff. The names are just based off of their temperament and then their pattern. That's really it. So Banana Benji is what?
That's the green tree, who's feisty.
But he's yellow.
He's yellow
right
for now.
But
he might end up being a high yellow contour because he's at least 1.5 years, and he's going through the phase, but he's still super freaking yellow.
I have DJ Gobbles because it's not a snake, but it looked like he had little headphones on.
That's the Tegu.
And then he was green, so I was like, Green Goblin.
He's not gonna stay green though.
And that's what he said. But I said goblins don't have to be green.
That's fair.
And so I just picked the names based off. But Mahoganagna, that's just what what is it about it? Why is it mahogany? What is it called?
That's the name of the morph. It's mahogany.
Yeah,
he's a super mahogany.
But I felt like it fit him. I don't know.
It does.
Casper's white.
Gray.
He has a smile. My sister, the first thing she said is she was like, "Why the heck is that thing smiling at me? I hate it." And I was like, "Because he's Casper, the friendly snake." So that's kind of where we go with things.
How did you, Matt? How did you deal with her deciding to name all your snakes? Because at one point you were very much against naming snakes?
I'm interested.
I was more so against naming all the ball pythons because I was like, look, I don't have time to name 80 ball pythons. Like, I'm not gonna make a list. Like the chondros and the retics, I did have names. Well, no, not the chondros. I didn't have those at the time. But the retics, I started naming. But I don't know. I mean, whatever floats your boat. She can do it. She can take on that task. If you want to name all the snakes, you can name all the snakes. I don't have the time to.
Like,
I'm not creative enough either to have 80 different names. Like, I could probably do 15.
He's still also he themes his names though, so I
do
that's
theme my
very
names.
different,
I do
and
theme my
know.
names.
But he said he was going to get me the label maker so I could put their names on there, and he hasn't. So I rip off pieces of paper and I just slide it in the front of their tubs.
Don't let her name hatchlings with all. She's already
What?
named them.
It's too late, Duran. As soon as the
already
eggs
named
open,
them.
she's naming them.
Yeah, the hatchlings. We have the Spice Girls. Right
then-
now we have Lucky Charms that we're waiting.
Lucky Charms are in the incubator.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that is like one of my very anticipated clutches. So I'm hoping that one, like the Lucky Charms naming that you gave him, like actually helps.
The other ones were very random. I had Belladonna, which we found out is Belladonna.
Belladonna.
Highly disappointing.
I told you can't name them before they're out because you don't know if they have 2 peens or none.
Farquaad. And then there was a snake I forgot to name, so that was Voldemort. Because he wasn't named. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's the fun part for me because I don't know what they are, what any of it means. I just know they're ball pythons, so giving it a name makes it more fun. Because he can talk about the name that I gave it instead of telling me the...
Yeah, because she doesn't know the morph, so like
Okay.
I can tell her this name, and she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." It just clicks. Like if I told her, "Oh, the dreamsicle just shed," she'd be like, "The who?" And I'd be like, "Well, you haven't named that one yet, actually, so you don't know."
Yeah, I don't know.
You're slacking.
I need a label maker.
I have done good though. On my hatchlings, we had 13 and only 2 are holdbacks.
Not bad.
Yeah, so I'm doing good.
How did you guys end up meeting? 'Cause you live 2 very different lives.
You want to? Okay, we
This
can
is
tell
it's
this.
such
because I
a-
don't mind. So we were both on dating apps, and we matched. And he was actually out of state at the time, and so we were.
I was
texting.
I think it was Tinley. I'm pretty sure I was at Tinley when we started talking. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were texting, and we decided to FaceTime, and we were like, okay, like we really like each other. This is great. And then I hadn't met him yet, but I had planned to. And I live with my best friend. So she came home one day and I was like, oh, there's this great guy I haven't been able to show you. And I show the picture and she said, like her whole face was just like, uh-oh. So come to find out, he dated my best friend briefly. My best friend that lives with me. Like,
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And he had no idea.
So
But
she texts me at Tinley and she's just like, "Hey, I have something that might be a make or break for us." And I'm thinking like, what? Like, what happened? Oh God, oh no, what's going on? And she goes, "You dated my best friend," and I'm thinking like, okay, most of like my dating has ended like either okay or chaotic before her. So I'm thinking, I'm like, shit, which girl is this? Oh God. And she sends me the photo of her and her roommate, and I'm like, I laugh because I think it's hilarious because I know exactly who she is, obviously. But then I'm like, okay, well, that split, we dated for like a month and a half, and it was very much like, she was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like, I respect that, like, I hope you find what you're looking for. And it was very cordial.
So I just said Eskimo Bros and we high-fived and that was it. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
She's not joking at all. I remember telling my buddies, and they're like, given your date history the last 4 years, this is the only, like, it makes so much sense that this would happen to you. Like, this just falls into like your line of crazy stories that you had happen.
Your realm of stories, definitely. Yeah. If
that was just a little bit after getting catfished. So
Yeah. So that was a level up, kind of weird.
it's wild.
So those of us that know Matt, we obviously know he's in the family business, which is construction. And I'm not ready for sorry. Somehow through a miraculous dating site, now that we found out, he found a psychologist.
Yeah.
And so how has the how do I want to put this? It's gonna come off either really good or really bad.
Do it, rip the band-aid. Do it.
How has the difference of lifestyles been like bringing it in? Because you're very obviously like
Oh, she's
he's
very
work with your hands, work very hard, be out in well, not so much anymore. He's an office guy, but
yeah, man, I'm an office guy now. Yeah.
yeah. But so I guess it's a little bit more similar than it could be, but you're very so Meg's very client based and I have to take care of needs versus Matt's like, oh, I gotta fill out forms and I used to work with my hands.
And do payroll.
Yeah. So how did it first kind of mesh out?
Well,
This is turning into a dating podcast. Good Lord.
I mean, that's fine. The person I am at work is very different from the person I am outside of work. Because at work, I lead a team of 17 psychologists. I have a specialization in neuropsychology. I work with children, by the way, not adults. So that also helps. I don't analyze him. And that's something I talk about as well. But it's very different. So I'm
I
constantly.
saw that. Matt's eyes went to the side like, oh God, I hope she does it.
Oh my God, here it comes.
No, there have been little moments which I think are really funny because I told him in my previous like dating life when I was out there just meeting random people, I was very quick to, it's so bad. I would hear like, oh, you have an auditory processing disorder, but I wouldn't say it to them. And I'm like, I just can't do this. Like, I know there's something there. But before we met, I kind of had a moment and I can't spend my whole life trying to figure out what's going on with people because I have my own crazy to deal with. And for him, there's only one thing I've really said, which is I asked if he had speech services when he was a kid. That's the only thing I've said.
Which I didn't.
But he has lazy speech, and sometimes.
And it's been that way my whole life. Like my mom has been like, open your mouth and talk. You're so lazy and you mumble sometimes. My whole life.
But we're both so busy.
I think that's just a guy thing.
She used to call me Shaq because you know how Shaq mumbles. She used to be like, you sound like Shaq right now. Open your mouth.
I love your mom. She's great. But
That's awesome. So you work with children. What are you specifically focused on, like with neuropsychology? Is it just helping them through speech impediments, or is it like what are we looking at? So like psychology and the way the mind works really fascinates me. I'm one of those weirdos. I don't have the patience to like try to go through it, but the practice itself fascinates me because I was a medic. So when I was in the Army, so like I had to have a basis of essentially everything.
Yeah, that's cool. For me, I haven't been able to use my neuropsych cert yet, but typically all I'm doing is assessing student. I shouldn't say all I'm doing, but I do a lot of assessments for learning disabilities. So to determine if kids need special education services. And then my specialization goes a little bit further where I can incorporate medical diagnoses to determine if there's, traumatic brain injury that may be impacting the student's ability to learn in school and a lot of fun stuff. I get to use specialized assessment tools in my evaluations that are not recommended for other people. I've been specially trained in those. So that's really cool. But primarily I'm determining if kids need special education services in school and then making the recommendation on what that looks like for them to be successful.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah.
And then counseling.
My oldest, we got to get him tested by the state. So might talk to you about that after this. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Boom. It's funny how so many things kind of pop up in the reptile industry. And I love that you guys have found a way to really mesh in the vlogs. Like this,
she came in.
Sound bad. Like you see Matt, and he's very okay. This is my pinpoint. This is my message I have to do. and then you come in and you provide the comedic humor, which I think is great. I don't think it's necessarily on purpose. It's just your personality.
It's the way it works.
And probably some nerves in front of camera. I was very much the same way. Like I would be not necessarily outlandish on it, but like I'd be more over the top because I was like, oh, it has to translate over camera or something like that, right? And so it came off as I was trying to do something way bigger than I was trying to do it. And it makes the vlogs move much more smoothly now. Not that they weren't good before, Matt. I don't want to sound like
No, I know what you're saying.
I'm saying like it the little bits of humor make it
I'm the
run
talent.
smoothly.
Just kidding.
It's like you had nothing before me.
You can ID the next clutch for me then. I'll let you ID the next clutch.
No, I like it. And like you guys, the talks between you two while you're doing it too, like
No, it's
you're
very
showing.
natural.
Say again.
I feel like it's very natural too, and then it's just it's kind of we do wing it. None of it's scripted,
Exactly, and you can see that you're both learning through all of it, which is what I really love. Like you've sent me multiple pictures. Like, dude, I think you're spot on with your assessments, but like watching you guys do it in the video is what I love because you're like second guessing each other and then you're second guessing yourselves. You're like, well, I think I see this now, but I don't know. But when did you decide that it was going to be both of you versus just one? Because that's something that me and my wife have talked about is like there were times where she was in my vlogs and then there's times where she's not, or like with the lives, she doesn't really come into the lives anymore.
Your vlogs before, like
right.
the settings and stuff. Yeah, no, for me it was the egg cutting. It's because she had mentioned like she wanted to cut the eggs with me, and I told her I was like, well, I'm recording this and putting it on YouTube, so if you want to be a part of it and the cutting, you're going to have to be on YouTube. And she's just like, okay. And she just took. She didn't. It was. I thought she might have been like, no, I don't want to be on there. But she's fine.
I don't care about any of that. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get to the end.
I want to take her to like a Tinley or Arlington too, but with her getting time off, it's hard. So
until someone said they were going to a concert. They were
in my defense,
I'm just saying
that Rammstein concert has.
If it wasn't a once in a lifetime concert,
I'd be postponed for 2 years. 2 years. It got postponed twice. And when they did it the second time, I looked at the date and I was like, this is the end of September. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Arlington weekend. Please don't be Arlington weekend. I really like going to that show. And then I go online and check and I was like, of course it is. Of course it is.
You want to know the worst part about it? I thought this weekend was Arlington weekend and not next. So like I had everything
wish it was this weekend
and ready. And then I realized I went to the website and was like, oh crap, it's next weekend. I had to call my wife because she's up with family right now. It's like, hey, I'm not going to be up there for like another 5-ish days because I can't leave the animals that long. So you're gonna be with the family and the kids alone. Sorry. Yeah.
Like you got this. I have faith in you.
Yeah. I got in trouble for that one, but pay attention to the dates. They're important.
Dates and time are important. Just like today, I thought I was like halfway through when I got that call, and I'm thinking, I hope he said 6 p.m. Pacific and not East or Central. I was like, oh boy. I was like panicking, and then I looked at my phone. And I'm like, okay, cool.
I can't.
Okay, so let's jump into the stuff since our last interview, where it was just ball pythons, things like that. You've gone and you've expanded quite a bit.
Pretty big, yeah.
There's not only captive, born and bred stuff. There's not just. Well, I'll let you jump into it. So. Besides just your captive stuff, you've brought in imports. What was the experience with that for you, and how are you feeling through that right now?
I knock on wood. I've been very lucky. Both the two chondros I got were imports. One was from Dan over at DM Exotics, who I think if you're gonna go through anyone for imports, that's the guy to go to, hands down. Like you're gonna get something healthy. It's gonna be eating. It's not going to have diseases. You know, that chondro is doing great. The other chondro and the emerald I got from Cold-Blooded Kingdom. They're in Florida. Those two are doing great too. The chondro or the emerald, Shakira. Yeah. The emerald took a little bit longer to poop, which had me worried. Because I was kind of like, okay, why? Like, she's had like 3 meals. Why is she not pooping? Like, what's going on? So I took her outside. I put like a little like branch setup that I did. I just sprayed her with water for like 5 minutes, put her back in her tub, and she pooped like 10 minutes later. And I was like, that's all you want? It was like a good soak. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. There's been no issues. They eat every week. They shed, clean sheds. I mean, it's been, I think with those 3 animals, it's been about as good of an experience as you can get with imports for sure. Would I recommend doing it? I would say if you're going through the right people, yeah. And you're good about quarantining and you're good about keeping it away from other snakes, at least for like 3 to 4, at least, 3 to 4 months. That's what I would say. But yeah.
How's the scheduling with that? Obviously, with what you just said, you got to kind of plan when you're going to work those animals versus the rest of your collection. So what have you run into scheduling conflicts, or is there anything that you like set certain time aside for them, or is it just kind of flow within the work that you're doing for the day?
It's all within the work. I do most of my feeding all in one day.
Okay.
So usually it's like Wednesdays I get home from work. I'll go pick up the live feeders because of course I have, like 20 snakes that only eat live. Go pick up the live feeders, bring them back. And then usually what I do, I found the best method to not waste rats here is I'll feed all the live first. And then whatever doesn't eat live within the first 15 to 20 minutes, that rat gets pulled and it gets fed to one of my frozen eaters that also eats live. So all those rats aren't getting wasted. And then you're not running the risk of forgetting a rat in a tub. Which, God, that was the first screw up I have actually had. Now, luckily, the snake's fine, but yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago. I was opening the tub, and usually I'm like very meticulous with my feeding. I feed everything, and then I go in before I go to bed. I open every single tub, and I check. Okay, you ate the frozen. There's no live. You ate the frozen. I check everything, and I somehow missed a tub. And I get back from work Thursday in the afternoon. And I go in there to check on this snake, and I pull it open. There's a rat sitting right in the corner by the front. It's just staring at me, and I'm just like, oh, my God. I'm like, oh, my God, oh, my God. Because it doesn't take long for a rat to screw up a snake. And the snakes will just, for some reason, they let it happen. I don't know why. But I immediately take the rat out, put it in a different empty tub, take out the snake. I'm looking at the snake, and I'm like, okay, it's safe. But I was like, that was like the pit in my stomach when that happened. That's probably been my first big mistake. Yeah, you don't have that problem with retic.
Never have that problem with retics.
Never. My retic, the oldest one I have, will actually eat the feeders that the ball pythons don't eat sometimes.
That's what I use mine for, man.
Yep. Same with the
carpet. Garbage can. If someone doesn't take it, then it's no, I feel you on that, man. I've done it once myself as well. Like, I have a bad habit of waiting till like 10 o'clock at night to feed them. So like I'll do everything I got to do throughout the day, and then I get the kids to bed, and once the kids are in bed, I start throwing lives in, and I keep the tub just a little open, right? Like not enough for anything to get out, but just so I know it's sticking out, so I know there's a rat in there.
Something in there,
And this one night I was just super tired, and I guess I closed 2 of them all the way without thinking about it. So I'm going through and I'm doing my checks, and I'm like, okay, they're all closed all the way. I'm good.
Yeah.
I go to bed. I wake up the next morning, and I just hear scurrying all around the thing because the rat's being chased by the snake, but the snake's not attacking. Like, oh my God. Oh no, I got to see. And I open it up, and I kid you not, this rat just like leaps over me. Yep. The snake's right here. I'm like, oh, this is going to be really bad. I'm trying to grab at the rat, worried about my face getting tagged by it. It was awesome.
I had a similar situation, not quite the same with the snake, but I had one where like I was feeding. I took the rat with the tongs, took it out of his tub, put it in this made me change the way I actually put the rats in the tub. Put it in the tub, and as I'm closing it, I look at this rat, and he runs to the corner as I'm closing it, and he looks up at me, and I'm like, don't, and he just jumps out, and I'm like, oh, so I'm chasing this rat around my room for like 20 minutes trying to get him. So now what I do is I barely open the tub, I'll put it in, and then I'll close it on the tongs, and then I'll let go and pull the tongs out, and you have no escapes.
So if I hadn't opened it, it probably wouldn't have escaped. But even with that, I was just like, you know what? This is before I had like cluster everywhere. I gotta rearrange this again. It's not working. But so I let one of the bigger snakes out and was like, all right, have a heyday. But I don't recommend it on carpet either. Like I had to like carpet
I'm
clean,
on
like
carpet
deep
upstairs.
carpet
It's
clean
lovely.
everything afterwards. It was not the nicest sight. But
carpet's a love-hate because like I think last time we talked on the show, I had everything downstairs in one room, and now I'm in two rooms. Ball pythons are upstairs in their own room, but I actually had a lot of issues with the racks because of the hardwood floors. The first two levels would stay warm, but now that they're up here on the carpet, it's all perfect. Actually, most of my snakes, well, the ball pythons all are. They're all on ambient because during the summer, the room will get to be about 80, 85, the highest, and then it'll drop down to 78 at night, which is perfect, you know. I have the heat panels and everything still plugged in, but they're set to like 87 because I'm low-key paranoid about heat issues, you know. And then the wintertime, I just put a oil heater on, and it's the same thing. It regulates it from like 84 down to like 78.
Okay. Oh, I feel you, man. Like a lot of people have given me crap for keeping them on carpet, but so my ball pythons are on heat, but what I don't often share is my retic and my MBKs are not on heat. They're running ambient. The ambient of this room is 82 to 84 degrees, fluctuating. So like if she needs heat and I see her moving around a lot or like right after a meal, I'll run it for a little bit, but I try not to run heat on her or heat on the MBKs because that's naturally what they're running around at.
I feel like it's just safer too. You don't, if you're not running heat, you're not running the risk of possibly cooking your snake horrifically, because accidents happen, thermostats fail, and stuff can go south real quick.
Oh yeah, and with this I don't even know if you could see it anymore. With the professional metal rack monstrosity in here that takes up like half the room, or I guess a quarter of the room, it puts off so much heat, keeping the hot at 88 degrees that the entire room just like you're gonna see me start sweating here in a little bit because of it. But anyways, that's beyond the point.
You're always.
Yeah, you're always sweating in there.
I'm dating a lizard is what I feel like. It's so hot here always.
So she says that because
where do you keep the house at?
Love my animals. So the chondros, the emerald, the dwarf retics, everything else that's not a ball python is downstairs in like my little like den / office room that would be or could be an office. There's no door on there. So I run the entire downstairs at 78 so that the snakes are happy. And most people come in, they're like, it's so hot. And I'm like, I'm used to it by now. Like, it's not that big of a deal for me.
It's nightmares, especially when it's 110 outside. I just feel like it's not. I mean, that does suck. When I'm like outside, it's like 90 degrees and I'm doing yard work and I walk into an 80-degree house. I'm like, this doesn't feel good. This is not ideal right now. No.
Go start the cold shower.
Yeah. Literally, I'll go upstairs just I'm taking a shower. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, we keep it at 75 to 77 in our house because of the geckos.
Yeah, upstairs, now that the ball pythons are in their own room, that the temperature stays around 78 to 84. I think because of the racks and everything, I dropped the temperature up here to like 74, 75. So it's a little bit colder.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, that my actual office where like my computer is and everything, that gets hot when I had that's when I have snakes in quarantine in that room, I keep that room warmer. So like editing videos and doing everything in that room is
Nightmare.
is not pleasant because you got to think the room's warmer because you want to keep the temps up for the snakes in quarantine. And then you got a computer running and my computer's by my leg. So the heat from the computer is cooking my legs up, It's like that.
Do you work with anything besides the ball pythons, Meg? Like, are you helping with all of it?
Oh, me. Let's talk about what I actually do. Cheerleader.
She's very supportive.
Snake namer.
You're very supportive, yeah.
Business recommender. Suggestion.
She is.
Provider.
She is. No, you're very.
I play with them.
No, but you're very in tune business wise with this for me.
Oh yeah.
So she's very like, hey, you should maybe try doing this or do that, or that's a good idea. Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah.
And she's
I had it right.
She's
the brains and you're the brawn. I said it earlier.
She's potentially sold what, 3 snakes or 2?
Probably 2 at this point.
Yeah.
I had somebody back out because their husband said no. He's husbands.
But yeah, I was like, look at you. I was like, look at you go.
A lot of. So I've been posting about the snakes all the time, and I'm like, just to let you know, they're for sale.
She posted them relatively early, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like,
no,
they haven't eaten yet. Don't post them. I was like, they haven't eaten yet. Don't post them.
No, we need to talk about posting. This is what I'm good at.
This is her business side. Okay, yeah, you can go. Go ahead.
I was gonna lose my mind with this man. Because we did this YouTube video and we're like, ooh, we're going to show. Yeah, the egg cutting. We're not going to show the full snakes yet. We're doing this egg cutting video. And then he starts posting things on his Instagram. And I was like, you cannot, nobody's going to want to watch your video if you just show it to them on Instagram for 2 seconds. Like, I'd rather go to your Instagram. Yep, got it. I'm not going to watch your whole video.
She told me that and I was like, you're making a very good point right now.
You release the video. And then you show all the stuff you've saved up in your phone.
But in my defense,
learn how to tease, man.
I hatched an inchy leopard clown. I was so excited about this snake, I couldn't resist posting it.
Yeah, so don't work on that. But that's my contribution. I don't really I've never fed one. Oh, when he brought the first time I went with him to get rats, I was playing with them. I'm not good at that part. I'm just I'll go pick one up if you're out of town. If you tell me what to do, I'll do it.
She was in the room one time when I fed a pup to a snake, and she was like, "Oh."
No, it wasn't the pup I was sad about.
Or was it a fuzzy?
I was mad. I was sad because the pup, fine, feed it, eat it, fine, but it sat there on the floor, on the little.
Oh,
dish.
it was So one of the chondros, I put it in there, and it wasn't eating it, and it was just sitting there, and she's like, "This poor thing is just gonna die," and I'm like, I'll probably just feed him off to somebody else.
Which is fine. But it just sat there and is like a little freaking tiny baby, helpless already. And then you're there to die and you can't even die. What? So that's where I'm at. That
sounds so bad.
I know. That's where it is. That's what I'm saying. So that's, as far as taking care of things, I have no idea how to do any. The only pets I've had growing up, I've had a horse, which is the only wild card. Otherwise, I've had betta fish and I've had tons of dogs and a cat, briefly. But all of the reptiles, it's all very new to me. My grandma was a vet tech, has been a vet tech for several years.
I wish she lived closer because then she could just come down and ultrasound everything. And then I'd have a vet that I could take anything that I needed to her. But she's what, NorCal?
She's in Central California.
Still far.
Yeah. But that's the only time I would maybe have gotten anything. But even then, she's lived far away from me. But they've already built a relationship. She was like, I need to text Matt. I have a question for him. And I was like, okay. And so she had questions about a bearded dragon.
So. She had asking me about she was taking it in for to house it?
No, it's a long story. But basically the person who was supposed to take care of it wasn't feeding it and it lost a lot of weight. So then she had to rescue it. But I don't know anything about these animals, but I'm not afraid of them. I'll hold and now since going to the reptile show, I was like, can I hold it?
Oh, she was thriving. I loved it.
It was great. But that's pretty much what I'm good for. I can't tell you what I'm holding. I can't tell you what it eats or how often. I've never fed one and I haven't, that's it. I can name it. It's my talent.
But you're business savvy. Like he was saying, like you're the brains, I'm the brute. I'm like I feed and I pair. And you're like, okay, but here's what you should do business wise.
Yeah, so we're working on it.
So I'm going to jump into something. I remember when you first got this animal, and I was very, very adamant about how you handle this animal,
Oh.
and to make sure you know where I'm going with this. How has it been, or how has the experience been with your Heloderma? And what are the lessons that you've learned? Because I'm sure there's been a couple with it at this point, with how long you've had it. And Meg, how does this animal make you feel, knowing that it's venomous?
Oh my gosh.
So I get this thing, right? I get it. I bring it home. I send her a photo, and she's like, "Oh my god, he's so cool! I love him. I want to hold him." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's venomous, so you probably aren't gonna be holding this one for a little bit, or it's gonna be with a glove if you do hold him." But she was kind of like, "Why is he venomous?" And I'm like, "Because it's the only venomous I can have in California besides a rattlesnake, and I'm not ready for that yet." But it's been pretty good. I mean, one thing I've learned is they are a lot quicker than you realize, especially when they're babies. Like I've seen the adults, they can be a little bit like sluggish, but they're still quick. But that little dude, like usually what I'll do is I'll wear a glove and I'll like get the tail with this hand and I'll put the glove under him and just kind of scoop him up and hold him. But like there's been times where I'll grab that tail and he'll whip around real quick and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Like,
so his name is Wiz because he's black and yellow. And
even though I gave him a different name, but
yeah, he did. He gives the snakes or any of his animals, he'll give them other
the
names.
non-ball pythons I'll name and she'll rename him and I'm like, that's not his name.
But yeah, but you then he uses it because I'm saying it so frequently and he picks it up and then it's good.
See, I told you she used her mind control.
She did.
But I don't know. I was very disappointed that he got another animal that I can't interact with because, like I said, that's all I'm good for. I do the naming.
Yeah, she gets sad with like because you can't hold the chondros, you can't really hold the emerald. I mean, you could hold the emerald,
They're
but like
so boring.
They are boring. They do sit. I will say they're beautiful animals, but they don't do nothing.
Yeah.
But that 15 seconds to 30 seconds of movement is wonderful.
Awesome. And the way they eat is pretty crazy too.
Yeah, I'm excited when Shakira turns her head around, and I'm like, "Cool! Look at she moved today." That's all I have.
Yeah, there's literally been days where I'm like, she hasn't moved in like 2 days. I'm like, she's just chilling there.
Let me go poke it with the sticker.
Yeah, then she'll move over to the left, and I'm like, "Hey, there you go."
But I mean it's exciting to see all of the new animals that he brings home. And lately it's been more of a variety instead of just like your traditional ball python, which is more traditional because it's the largest in his collection. I don't know if that's traditional in the whole world. I'm scratching it. But if I can't interact with it, it's really sad.
Yeah, we gotta start handling the tegu more actually, because the tegu's still, I mean, he's like that big, but
he's feisty.
He's feisty. She put her hand in there to try to grab him, and he came running across and like lunged and like came after her, and I was like, okay, we need to work with that guy.
He's like dancing on the window, so I'm like, there's something I can do something with this, but then yeah, he's ready to attack.
He's wild. The Aki's just skittish.
I didn't even know you had Akis.
I got the Aki when I got the Tegu. I went to Pomona and told myself I'm not coming back with anything. And then I go back on Sunday, and I go by Shane at Evergreen's table. He's got the captive bred Tegus there. And I'm like, well, there's a place to get a Tegu. It's Shane. So I get the Tegu. And then I go by Armin at Herb Time's table. And I was like, okay, I'm thinking if he still has the Akis there, I'll get it. If he doesn't have them, it is what it is. Wasn't meant to be. I'm not going to get it. And he had this like super bright red Aki. Or I was just like, hey, Armin, can I get that Aki? And he goes, I knew you were going to come back for one. And I was like, yeah. That's who I got the beaded from, too.
Okay.
So he's actually got some melanistic Lacerdas that I want to get. Because they look like black dragons, but they're not going to get as big as a black dragon, which is nice. I don't have space for that. So I'm kind of trying to branch out a little bit more from the ball pythons, you know? Plus,
There's
Do
one.
you think that's a influence from the people you surround yourself with, or is that just you need something to
I think
continuously peak
a
your
little bit of an influence, but it's also like my collection's grown to the point now where anything I buy, the buying is going to scale down. It's going to be more holding back stuff now. So I'm at the point now where like I'm only going to buy things that I really like. Okay, I really need that. Like I need that powerhouse male, so I need to buy that. Or I need this one specific female fits my project that I need perfectly. Or like, I know there's like the hold back game of like just holding back everything and then rebreeding it. But like I really like the approach that Justin's told me to take too before when I talked to him. And it's if you're, you breed a project and you're looking to hit something and you don't hit it, sell everything you hatch and then buy what you wanted, which is kind of the approach I'm going with too.
But I've been to one reptile show with him, and I think he's going to try and use me to buy more things because he wants me to get something. And I said, I don't want to take care of it. I don't have time. So he wants to add it to his collection. He'll take care of it, but it will be mine.
Well, when we met, she's talking about how she wanted a gecko.
I would
She's
love
like, I want a gecko. I told her, I was like, get a crested gecko. It is like the easiest pet.
super easy?
It's easier than a ball python.
But now he's like, oh, I'll house it. And I'm so no, that's an excuse for you to get another animal.
Well, it could be in your office. It's a good icebreaker for the kids.
Yeah.
I did work at a site where they had. I actually sent you. That was one of the first times. So we were still talking. I don't even know if we met at that point, but I worked at a site where they did have animals for the kids to feed and interact with because I worked for a charter school. So they had a bearded dragon and they had a couple of snakes, and so I picked up one of the snakes and I sent him a picture when we were first dating. Like,
that was the very beginning, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that. So, yeah.
That was the very beginning, but that was also like, to go back to like dating. Before we started dating, I had dated or gone on dates with two other girls well before her. And they were both horrified of snakes, like terrified. Absolutely. Like one girl was like, oh, I can't even be in the same room as them. Like I can't even look at them. Like I was like, Carrie, you want to see them? She's like, no, I can't even look at it. I can't even look at it. I'm just thinking, I'm like, this ain't gonna work. Like this is not gonna work. Like literally, you walk through my front door and the first thing you see is snakes. Yeah. So when she sent me the photo of her holding this big old ball python, I was like, you're gonna do just fine. Like this is perfect.
But I had the first time I held a snake was in grade school. They brought them in and they were
that's what started mine. Yeah, I think I was like 8 when I held my first snake.
But my mom is terrified. So I just found out that so I spend every Thursday with my grandpa since my grandma passed away. And he just told me that he used to go herping when he was a teenager.
You didn't tell me that?
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, he used to go herping. He loved it. Right. So I was like, I'm bringing a snake. I'm having Matt bring a snake next time we see you. Right. And he's like, that's fine. I think they're cool. And he's 86. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome. I didn't know.
Sorry, I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
I tell you all the things.
You
but
do.
I guess I forgot
you told me everything. And she'll like call me like, guess what? And I'm like, what?
I got the cheese may. It's so exciting.
But yeah, but talking about the venomous though, how would you feel if I got other venomous?
This is
he's laying the foundation.
Well, I mean, we
feelers out.
You know how much I love squams. Like I would, God, if they were legal in California, I would have a whole Patrick Holmes, his room. I'd have a whole room full of squams like that, man.
Squam sounds like something from Rick and Morty. But Squanchy is another guy's name. It's very close. So we've already talked about financials and a lot of different things about, first of all, it's his business. It's his money. Do whatever you want with it. So that's the first thing. But then we've talked about, there's a lot of stuff we've had to consider if we're going to merge our lives, because I have my own house. He has his own house. And I'm like, I like mine. What would we do in that case? And when it comes to spending, we've already talked about it, which is really funny considering how early it is, I think, in our dating life history, whatever. But I told him, like, if that, I don't care. Spend your money how you want to, but as long as your responsibilities are taken care of, money will come and go. If there's something that you want, get it, do it, take care of it.
which I'm good at. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been the last 2 years, there've been months where I would buy snakes and then
Ramen noodles.
I would pay my bills and I would look at my account and I'm like, I have $200 for the week. This is great.
He's also never told me that at all. So.
Not recently. Not recently. That was like the first year and a half that I was doing this. It was like there were some moments where I'm like, wow, I got no money right now.
But there's going to be, the way I see it, like here's that psychology part for you. We all worked, like our ultimate goal as humans and as people is to be happy, right? So we need to invest in the things that make us happy. And if we focus on financials the entire time, that's never going to find us or get us to where we need to go. You have to work on talking about our hierarchy of needs, but you take care of your basic essential needs, like make sure you have somewhere to sleep, you have food and those type of things. But the rest of it is entirely up to you. So if you can take care of yourself, even if at the end of the day, you're like scraping change, if you're happy at the end, then just do it.
Which is, I mean, that has been my big thing. The first like couple of years building it up was, I mean, the first year we had COVID lockdowns going on. So I wasn't going anywhere. Everything in California was closed, so all my extra money that I would have used to, go on trips, go out, go to concerts, go to baseball games, hockey games, I was putting that towards snakes, for the most part. So
I think Will brought up a big thing, and it's one of the reasons that I really appreciate him. But
Will's awesome, yeah.
Having those different species, it gives you one, not only a fallback, like you need to broaden your horizons. You need to have those passion projects because when things are slow, or I'm not going to necessarily say slow, because I don't think the ball python market ever slows down. I think that the sellers
it just corrects itself.
Well,
Stagnant?
No,
I'll say that. I think people get used to the easy times and they get lazy with being a salesman. Whereas like the passion projects, you really see that come out with people. And like Will, for instance, one of the projects that he works, I'm really interested in, you're invested in the same species. We're looking at northern white lips, and it's not a 2 years, 3-year project for anything. You got to grow up those females for like 4 years before they're sexually mature. And then even if you get them sexually mature and the male takes, like, you might not get babies. You might not even get eggs. Like it's a very much more delicate process than just doing ball pythons. And I think having those passion projects is really what pushes us. And like you were saying at the beginning, like you have your passion projects, the ball pythons push that. So let's kind of jump into it. What's your focus for a passion project? While you have many, what's your focus for the passion project? Like,
it's definitely the dwarf retics and super dwarfs for sure. Like I love the chondros and emeralds, but like I don't see the chondros or the emeralds ever becoming a breeding thing for me, just because there's so much that can go wrong, and there's so many like heartbreak stories over breeding emeralds and chondros that I don't want to spend, $3 or $4 grand on a chondro and then breed it and it dies, just, and that they did that. They will, they'll just die. Like it's the way it is, Passion project wise is definitely the super dwarf retics for sure. Right now I've got one 50% super dwarf and then 3 dwarfs, but I would like to get like a really high percentage like male to put to my 2 females for sure. And then I think one is just
you're gonna be one of those. You're a corrupter.
A corrupter. Yeah, every time I go see Garrett, he's like, I got this really cool snake. And I'm like, every time I gotta be Garrett's the one you gotta keep me away from, because Garrett always somehow gets me to buy a snake. Because Garrett knows what I like.
That's why I've avoided Retic Fest the last 2 years, because I know when I go there, I'm coming back to an angry wife.
Well, you have no idea how hard it was when I went there to do the podcast with him. And he pulls out this, because he knows I love like Motley and Annery and Golden Child. So he pulls out this really cool Anery girl that's like green and gray, and he's just like, this is a holdback, Matt, but for you, I could probably let this go. And I'm like, I don't even want to know what the price of that thing is if it's a holdback. I don't even know. Like, no, I'm not buying it. But that's definitely, I mean, it's a ways away. Like, I think my oldest super or dwarf, I try to get the names right because dwarfs are not super dwarfs. I know some people in the industry want to say like, oh, it's a super dwarf, even though it's only like 15%, you know. But the oldest one I have is, I think, that 1.5-year-old one. So they're still, I think they're kind of like the white lips. They got to go 3, 4, 5 years sometimes before you can actually even breed them.
It depends on the sex. But
Yeah.
What localities are you working with, or what localities pique your interest?
Right now, I just have Calato and Jamps. But I do like the Madus a lot. And then, oh God, I can't think of the Madu. Yeah, it's like an island locality. So with dwarf retics, it's all island localities.
No, I know somebody who has that last name. Interesting.
Contribution. Halmahera. I really like the Halmaheras, even though they are the feistier ones from what I've been told.
Australian olive pythons?
Olives are awesome. If olives didn't get so big, I would totally get an olive.
The olives, the scrubs.
I love scrubs.
I love, oh Lord, the blackheads. I really want to get into blackheads as well.
Blackheads are sick. I really wouldn't mind breeding beadeds too.
I'm just I'm trying my luck with MBKs this year, which it's a snake eater, but it's a small snake eater, so I feel more comfortable.
So that's actually something,
having to separate them.
Yeah.
Versus
because
breeding blackheads, you're talking about 7, 8 foot long snakes breeding, and if they try to eat each other, there's almost no stopping it.
Yeah.
That's the black one that we were looking at, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I want either an MBK or an indigo, mostly because I want a snake that, it's going to happen. It's the way, it works. If you're going to get an egg that comes out with a deformed or just a dead snake, I want to be able to feed that off to a snake eater, kind of like circle of life. There's nothing going to waste.
What about the one with the alien eyes? There was one snake that I saw at the reptile show.
Oh, I don't remember. That was at Dan's table.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dan's got all those crazy exotic. I can't remember what it was, but it was weird. It was really weird.
It had big, huge, like alien eyes.
It almost looked like a mangrove, but he had an even bigger head and bigger eyes than a mangrove.
Yeah, I would have to see.
My passion project.
I'm failing here.
So what's been your favorite experience so far within like the shows and the industry for you, Matt? And then I guess just with your experience with Matt and with the show that you've gone to so far, Meg, what would you say your favorite moments are?
I think for me, it's just really just meeting people, and developing friendships and everything. You go to these people. I've had people that are like, oh, I don't really want to go to a show. I'm not, I'm shy, or I don't, I get anxiety, which I totally get 100%. But like, you really meet some cool people at these shows, and it's a really good way, to network yourself. If you're trying to build this into a business and you're not going to shows, you're only hurting yourself in the long run. So definitely, first off, is just meeting the people. I've met some awesome people in here. I mean, you, a bunch of other people. And then,
I appreciate it, but I wouldn't say that I'm awesome. I appreciate it though.
Some mediocre people.
I have my days. I have my days of awesomeness, and then I have my days of
one of like my big supporters
ass
like day one, man.
I'm just
like there was like when I started, that was at like the peak of like everyone's getting into ball pythons, and there's all these newbies that were saying I'm gonna do this, and a lot of people like they just fall off and vanish. It's just the way it goes. But shows, yeah, for sure. And then I just the level of like feeling accomplished when you take something, because my first 2 clutches came from snakes I bought as hatchlings. My first clutch came from my first morph snake that I bought from Steve's Morphs like 3 years ago. Just seeing that snake go from a little baby that was eating pups And then you open that tub and it has eggs and you're just like, holy shit, I actually did this. I actually did it. And then you cut open the eggs and they're all healthy and they're, alive. It's great.
Yeah, that was fun.
Duran, I'm so sad I missed Vegas, man. Oh. I missed it too. I was
trying to get your neck blasted.
I know. It sucked. I was so excited for that trip, and then I was like, nah, it's probably a bad idea to go to Vegas with a fresh tattoo on my neck, and then ended up getting rescheduled.
Yeah.
Your turn.
What about you, man?
Me. So the people, that's been great. It was a really funny experience when I first walked in and was introduced to all of these people who were just, I think a lot of the reaction was like, oh my gosh, he likes girls, like he has a girlfriend. So that was the reaction, and I was just like, this is so good. Take a moment without.
Sounds similar to my.
I mean, you are kind of a pretty boy, Matt. We wondered about you for a little while. I'm just saying.
They were, and then they were all like, it was just the funniest reaction. So that was good, and I felt.
Well, Antoine's was the best. So she meets Antoine, and he looks at me and goes, "Damn, man!" He's like, "Got a boy." I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, they're all like, "Wow, you had your glow up." Like, you look
Antoine's like, "You glowed up, man. You glowed up."
Which I'm meeting all of these people, and they're just basically talking shit about where he was and who he is. So that was really fun, actually, for me. I enjoyed it very much. But my first reptile show was kind of bittersweet because I got some very bad news while I was there. But I think the coolest thing was like all of these people that I just met the day before, some even the day of, were, I needed to step out because it was very overwhelming. But they were all like, is she okay? Does she need anything? And then there were actually friends that were staying at his house, and they were there for the reptile show. And they came up while I was like trying to get my head on straight. And they were like, we can leave here. We don't have to stay, because we all drove together. And that meant so much to me. And so I do agree. It's just, this community has been so amazing. And I've met so many wonderful people. And that's been the biggest takeaway from me that I've just loved. And even at this show where they flew into California, and that was their experience, and they were willing to leave for me. So I think that was really, really memorable for me. It's just the people more than anything.
Now, with a little bit of experience, Matt, what would you say to a new person coming in?
Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. And I mean that in like any way. If you're thinking like, oh, I should start a YouTube, but like, I don't like being in front of the camera, or I don't know what I have to offer, just do it. I mean, I look back at my first like 10 videos, they're cringe. I can't watch them. I look at them, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, the editing is horrible. My intro is horrible. Like, I'm so awkward. I hate it. Everyone starts out that way. You're not going to make your first video and be like Brian Barczyk on the first video and just be like, hey, how's it going, guys? Everyone's going to, you're just going to like, it's not going to click right away. Step out of your comfort zone with shows. Like I said before, if you're not so like into going to shows or big, environments, I get that. That is a thing for people, but networking is key. You have to network. People will say like, well, you haven't bred anything, so why are you, making all this like stuff? Why are you making an account? Why are you making a YouTube? Why are you doing this? Because I want my name.
Being a damn hater.
Yeah, that too, exactly. But you want your name out there, you don't want to never post anything, not have a platform, and then have eggs and then be like, well, I can't sell these because nobody knows who I am. That's why I spent the last 2 years building on my Instagram and then doing the YouTube, which is to get my name out there. The YouTube thing for me, it's not like, I'm not like, oh, I want to be a million plus subscribers and make a bunch of money off of this.
I mean, we kind of do. Just a little bit. It'd be nice.
Watch the YouTube.
But it's a marketing method for me. It's any other way to get my name out there because not everyone that watches YouTube has an Instagram, and not everyone that has an Instagram watches YouTube. So the more you can get your name and your face and your product out there, the better. I occasionally post on TikTok when I remember. I'm really bad about it, but like, do I like TikTok? No, I hate TikTok. But I post on it because it's another platform to get your name out there. Instagram's hard because the way the algorithm works now, it's just like it's so fishy, and I mean, we were talking about this earlier. You see it, like you'll post something that gets 200 likes, and then you'll post something else that gets 20, and you're like, I don't understand what's going on, but okay.
I'm proving a point while you say this. Go ahead. Keep going.
But yeah, I mean, and you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket either. You don't want to say, I'm only going to have Facebook because I hate Instagram and I don't like YouTube.
So remember what we said, right? When this started, it was at 19.2.
Yeah.
An hour later, they killed it. It's at 19.7.
Yeah. Instagram's just weird. I don't get why, but yeah, I mean, I don't really like Facebook, and I just made a Facebook because I was like, I gotta, I filed for S Corp.
You finally have a Facebook?
Yeah.
I feel like a dick now because I didn't tag you.
It's okay. That's the one thing you're gonna learn about me is I'm really bad about like mentioning something sometimes. Like, oh, by the way, I got a Facebook. But yeah, it's
good. I understand you, but like it's good because you have that short form, that long form marketing, and it goes through different multi platforms, right? But it also piques the interest of other people with doing that, and it's all free for you, like as long as you're willing to put the time in. So
yeah, you don't got to pay to use YouTube or Instagram, or I mean, granted, if you want to do YouTube, you could invest, with like cameras and all that, but you can record perfectly good videos on your phone, upload it from your phone, edit it on your phone, and you're good.
Hell, Antoine still does that shit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just get out of your comfort zone. I mean, Facebook is a mess. I try to avoid it.
I agree with you, Duran. If my family wasn't on there, I wouldn't have it.
Yeah. It's just chaotic. I can't. There's so much drama on. If you want to look for drama, that's the place to go. It's the Facebook to find drama. But
go to the ReadTick pages on Facebook.
I am not on the ReadTick. I'm not on there for a reason. I've heard horror stories. The Chondro and Green Tree ones are just, and the Emerald are just as bad too. But
I think it's the mentality, and that has a lot to do with all of us, right? Like we have the opportunity to either change that or to continue to let it happen. And people like you, people like me, people like MJ, Chris, all of us that put out on a Sean. He's doing really good, man. If you knew Sean back in the day, like he wouldn't get through an episode like he does now. Like old school Sean would have let someone have it mid-episode. I'm very proud of that, man. Yeah, like all of us trying to put something out there and shed a positive light to it versus always looking at the negative of it, I think is very important. Now, I'm not saying focus solely on like positive stuff. Like obviously there's negative stuff that happens, right?
Yeah.
And you have to bring it to light. But I think we do a very good job of just kind of like brushing it off our shoulder and letting people see, hey, sometimes bad stuff happens. That's part of life. Get over it, move on.
Yeah.
And then you move forward and you do like you've done. Like you've had a lot of crazy stuff happen to you, just like helping with MJ and all the crazy stuff that's happened to him.
That's
Jesus, trying to
I can't even
be
go
a
into
production
detail
manager
of the stories, but yeah,
at times. But yeah, like your life, and I think a lot of people take it for granted. And I think this is kind of fitting into Meg's form, is like your life is very much so what you make it and how you perceive it. And I think a lot of us in the industry have focused on the negative for too long, and that's why it sits there.
100%. Yeah, I mean, there's like to go back to the whole like the community being the best part we both had experienced. There is a dark side to it where there's people that they have in their mind, this is how you keep this. If you don't do it this way, you're wrong. And I'm like, there's multiple ways to handle things. You get like the whole racks versus cages thing and all that. It's a whole mess. But I'm like, I made that video on racks versus cages, and I was like, okay, this is probably going to go over like a lead brick with some people. But in the video, I even said, the benefits to one versus the other. Some, you're not wrong if you choose one or the other. That was like one of the reasons why I kind of quit Facebook too. When I first started keeping snakes, was someone in there was talking about like husbandry and all that. And this guy in there commented and said, oh, I keep my snake in a glass enclosure with a basking spot of 95. And I replied, I was like, hey, I hope you're not keeping it at 95. A ball python does not need that hot. You're going to cook your snake. And he replies, like, I will never take advice from someone who keeps their snakes in racks. And I was just like, okay. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not doing this. Like, I'm trying to help your snake. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, hey, I wouldn't do that if I were you because this can happen.
And that's why I go through and like I click the like on the posts, and you'll see a lot of that from me. Like my name will be on everything, but
Yeah.
I stopped putting out advice because everyone takes it as a personal attack, man. When it's not, it's just, it's for the care of the animal, like you said.
That's what comes first. I mean, if your animals have to be, I mean, to go back to the breeding part of it too, if your animals aren't happy and healthy, they're not going to breed. Like
100%. 100%.
Like if your snake's sitting in a tub full of shit and crap, it's not going to want to breed. It's got an RI, it's not going to want to breed.
So you said you're at, where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 species of snakes now? And 3 lizards?
Yes.
Something like that. So 9 different species.
9 species, yeah.
How has the education and understanding on all these species been to intake in such a short amount of time?
What's been craziest is the lizards. They're so much different than snakes. Like so much different. And I mean, you have to feed them way more than snakes. They're a lot. Lizards are a lot more work for sure. That's the other thing I had to tell you about. Yeah, whenever I go on trips, you're gonna have to come over and feed the lizards for sure.
Please. Okay, I'll consider.
Please.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh, I like lizards a lot. So as long as there's one I can't. I've never met. Oh no, I've seen them once.
You've seen them once, yeah. But yeah, it's been. They're just. I feel like the lizards have more of a personality, and you're able to work with them more. I mean, you can target train like monitors. Even though Duran did prove you can target train a retic. So, and retics are smart.
Even with my girl being as big as she is, I'm gonna test that theory.
I want to try it with mine because 2 of mine are pretty cage aggro. Where like if you're near the cage or you put your hand in there, you risk getting tagged unless you took. I've hook trained all of them. So if I take the hook train them, take them out, then they're fine. But like if you stick your hand in there, you're running the risk of for sure getting tagged. But the other 2 are fine. But yeah, the one boy, he's like you said, he's getting to that adolescent age where I think he's starting to be like, oh, I'm teenage boy retic. I'm gonna start getting feisty. Yeah. He doesn't like Indy either. Anytime Indy's by his cage, he's like,
oh my God.
He's like heads cocked, but he's struck at Indy at the glass, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah, every time.
And Indy she told me, I think I was gone that day. And she was in the house watching everything. And she said she was looking at the snakes, and Indy walks by and the retic strikes at the cage, and Indy jumps like 2 feet back and runs off like terrified.
That was awesome.
I'm like, good. Like you should know, stay away from that snake.
So here's where I'm gonna kind of pull it all together for both of you. If you could change one thing, not about each other, but if you could change one thing about how your experience has been so far, or how the collection is, what would you change about it and why?
I think for me, I would focus on buying. I would buy my males late. Well, actually, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I would focus on buying males later, but I would focus on buying really powerful males and more het females. So you're breeding visual male to het females, build that way. But also don't buy your males too late, because I ran into that problem this year where I was like, I bought this male thinking I timed it right with that female, and he would be breeder size when she was ready to go. And it didn't work that way. That's not the way nature works. You can't try to like time this on the schedule you think it'll go. some of those males weren't ready, and I was like, well, crap, that sucks. But I would definitely invest in high quality males a little bit early. Because the way I see it is, you don't want to buy your males first, obviously,
Right.
but you don't want to buy them too late because then you're going to miss out. So you kind of want to find that happy medium in between. But I would say you're better to buy a little bit early than a little bit too late. Because I was a little bit too late on.
So the way you bought your collection is what you would change.
Yeah, a little bit. And there's some. I mean,
focus on ball pythons.
Yeah,
like I meant in total. Like if you could.
Oh no, yeah,
You could change a focus or anything. Like Miss Megs.
I'm gonna have the boring answer. I don't think anything. There's nothing I would change from my perspective. I don't know enough to really have a say in what would be better or indifferent. I'm really indifferent at the whole thing. I could say I want snakes that are nicer and more fun to play with, but that's not really fair. So that's all I have. I think that.
Well, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for you to turn to him and be like, just buy stuff I could play with.
No,
don't buy green trees that I can't hold.
They're so pretty. Like there's so many things that I've always talked to him. I'm so impressed with the way that he has built this business, because I don't have, so we talk about, just like you brought up, like we're very different in that I'm, this is a psychologist and I work on, we work with brains, right? And then he has this passion, but what he's doing is something that I would never attempt. Like I can't see myself doing it, because both of us, it takes so much in very different aspects, but like mine took a lot of schooling and a lot of years and, hitting the books a lot and that type of stuff. But what he's doing in the investments that he puts in every day and over time, I won't even get an animal right now because I can't. I'm like, when am I going to feed it? So in a lot of ways, it's a lot of hard work that he puts in, and I see it all the time. And you walk, what he's about and who he is and what he likes. And there's always consideration. He'll come to my house and he's like thinking of all his animals, and then he has to leave early because he has to feed his animals. And it's funny in some ways, but there's nothing I would change because it's so new to me, and I just love all of it. It's so cool to see someone who's so passionate about something that I find it's a strange and unusual world. I don't know anything about it, but I'm learning so much so quickly because he loves it.
She's catching on pretty quick though. She's learning more. Like the more she's in the room with me as I do things, she's definitely learning. And you watch plenty of videos of egg cutting and all that.
I do, but moral of the story is like, I can't change anything because from my perspective, this is so cool and it's so great and it's so fun. And I love all the pretty things that I can play with, you know what I mean? And just the fact that, all of the people that I've met are just, everything is so positive and you're all talking about all these great, wonderful things and giving each other advice, but it's all, to me, I don't know what any of it means, but it's also positive that none of it sounds like, I haven't heard anything that's like, yeah, you should change this. If I do, we can come back and I can say, I heard that his was wrong, but I don't know. Seems great to me right now.
Just call him out.
Just call him
out in it so that I know it happened.
I'm very good at that.
Actually, I will say one thing though too to add to that was I did go pretty early on into the freedom breeder racks, which I love 100%. But like if it comes down to like, should you buy like high investment animals and maybe get a PVC rack, or get like good animals but not high investment and get a freedom breeder, I would say get the PVC rack and then get the high investment animals, and then let your babies that you sell from those high investment animals buy you that freedom breeder rack later on.
100%. Use your profits to build your infrastructure.
Yeah. I don't regret it. I love going in that room because I have like a weird thing about everything has to match and look the same. Like I could not have one ARS rack in there because it would drive me.
Keep it up. I'm going to mute you.
Nothing against ARS. There's nothing against, it would just drive me.
Oh, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I got like sea serpents right here. I got TGR, which is a company that doesn't even
exist anymore.
I got ARS. I got Like
You
I
know
got
what, though?
PVC and metal. Like the whole room's just mixed and matched. And one day
You
it'll
know what?
all.
Though? My downstairs room is bad because it is. I've got Zen habitats on one wall, I've got Vision on another wall, and I've got wood on the other wall. So it's not like the ball pythons.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. And it messes with my OCD all the time, man. But it's what I got right now to work with. So
That's all that matters, man. The snakes are happy and they're eating and they're healthy. They don't care what rack they're in.
I mean, my mom thinks that they all belong in a rainforest, and she gets very upset when we show her how they're living. So
make her watch Dave Kaufman's video.
Yeah, we should. They live in termite mounds, and they only
They
come
couldn't
out.
even find one in a mound. They were digging in the ground to find them.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, with like an excavator.
that's pretty cool, actually.
Like they weren't digging. They weren't digging like 6 inches. They were digging like 1.5 feet to get these snakes out.
But
That video was wild.
I really like it. I really like it. I think you guys you play off each other extremely well.
We do for
I think
sure.
it's freaking great. Matt, you know how I feel about you, bro. Love you with all my heart.
Love you too,
Excited
man.
to see what you
You're number
do.
one.
Megs, it's great to finally meet you. I look forward to the day it's in person.
I'm sad I
Yeah.
won't be in Arlington this year.
We're gonna get anyone to follow you or check you out. Where do we need to find you?
Instagram will be matt.summers.reptiles. YouTube, Matt Summers Reptiles. Facebook, Matt Summers Reptiles Inc. And then TikTok is Matt Summers Reptiles as well. So it's all the same. Morph Market, same thing. Morph Market. Probably listing the snakes in another 2 to 3 meals. Some of them are on.
I forgot your website. You have your own freaking website.
Oh, I did think. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Oh.
Or-
Usually you're good about reminding me.
I got distracted by the things that
Go.
I'm posting.
Oh, she does like my carpet python, but he's feisty too.
Which one's the carpet? Is that the genie downstairs?
Yeah.
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 I do like him.
Yeah. Website is mattsummersreptiles.com. And that has links to everything. You'll find clutch records. You'll find Morph Market, store. Was it store? Teespring or store? What's the store one?
You can buy clothes with his stuff on it from a website through his
Speaking
website.
of,
Storefront too.
I need one that's not white because I have
I
three.
got you. I just ordered a bunch in green and gray. So I got you.
I need either a gray or a green, and I'll hit you up about that.
I realize that white is not a smart
Horrible
color.
with little kids.
Not a smart color to make your shirt with the reptile industry, because most people, they wear it when they clean or do something with the snakes. And what do snakes do? They get you dirty.
All
So
right.
white's
I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. We got to know Matt a little bit better. We finally got to see a little bit more into Meg. I think it was a great time. I think we had a lot of fun, some good info put out. Make sure you go check them out, give them some love. Absolutely. Check out Matt's stuff as he posts it up. Speaking of which, what I'm doing after this, I got to update my Morph Market. I've been paying for it for like 4 months and haven't updated it. So y'all have a great night. We'll see you next weekend after the Arlington show. So right after the USARK auction, I'll be going live with a couple of people there. So y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.